Few people have ever heard the story of an American Marine named James Hassel, who served in Iraq a few years ago. As the story goes, James was in an intense firefight with his squad. Now, as it turned out, one of his fellow Marines had been hit with shrapnel and was mortally wounded. In order to get the help they required, though, they had to travel 100 yards through a tight alley filled with crossfire. Without a moment of hesitation, James Hassel declared, "Put him on my back." So slinging his buddy across his shoulders, he prepared to run through a football field length of mortal danger. Now fortunately this story does have a happy ending, but happy ending or not, the fact is that James Hassel was willing to give up his very life for his comrade, and therefore towards the support of his own nation. People like James Hassel have, do, and will continue to pay an enormous price on behalf of the rest of us. The product of this price is freedom. You see, from freedom springs the most basic of human values. Values like the ability to reap what you sow, say what you believe, and become who you want to be. These are the values that really make life worth living, and they are impossible without first establishing freedom. Now in modern America, we have inherited an enormous amount of freedom from the efforts of past generations. We can look back to the Founding Fathers, through Abraham Lincoln, the World Wars, Martin Luther King Jr., and beyond, and see that our national heritage overflows with examples of people who sacrifice to establish and then defend freedom. But the fact that we've inherited freedom leaves us with the risk that we might take it for granted. And once we start taking something for granted, we stop fighting for it. Once we stop fighting for it, we ultimately lose it. And so therefore, it's in the interest of everyone that we continue to do everything that we need to do to uphold our stewardship of protecting freedom. The question I'd like to address today is how. Now, the fact is that every human being is different, and for this reason, it's unwise for us all to try to do the exact same thing in order to uphold freedom. We all have a different role to play. But I'd like to draw your attention first to a member of my community who I feel truly expresses their value and freedom through actions they take to uphold it. Now this individual, for many decades, has been working with her state legislature as well as educating young Americans about the purpose of government. For years and years, year after year, this individual has been hosting educational competitions, festivals to celebrate America's heritage of freedom, and has been working to train interns with the state legislature. Now again, this individual is someone who values freedom and expresses it enough that their actions actually make a difference. But the battlegrounds of the state capitol and festivals aren't, of course, the only places that freedom needs defending. Others, like James Hassel, choose to defend it physically on the battlefield. Others choose to defend it through business, media, arts and sciences, even in the classroom. And I would like to point out a second individual who, in my community, who I've observed really sacrificed for the freedom and the benefit of others. Now this individual stepped in last minute to teach a local class for the community. And this individual has been teaching for 2 years, yet they have never received any monetary compensation and only a very little praise. They did it simply because of what they knew it would mean to the students. Now, I've observed the students of this individual, and in my estimation, not only have they grown in their understanding of the world, but they have become tools in and of themselves for establishing and promoting freedom. This individual truly has made a sacrifice to promote freedom, even if it may not be very publicized. Now, in conclusion, we all have a duty to see that freedom is held up and established. Now, as Abraham Lincoln said, we have a duty to ensure that those who come before us should not have died in vain, and I would add, should not have lived in vain either. It's our responsibility to uphold freedom in any venue that we can. But like pieces in a puzzle, we won't all fit the same role. And so therefore it's our responsibility to find the role that we play, and then to play it well. Thank you.